Hi everyone, I hope you all doing well. So today I'm going to walk around the garden to show you the updates in the back garden, as well as to show you my two of my most favorite ways to make more hydrangeas for next season. But before we do that, I thought I'd show you around in the back garden, because everything is looking really magical and pretty as the sun is setting right now. So what you're looking at right now, that's the bulbo stander. You remember that one? And then I've got one more bulb here, another bulb here, and everything is sort of glowing in the sun right now. And it's actually got a tint of pink on the blooms that makes them look really pretty. And here is that firelight tidbit that I planted this past May, and it's looking gorgeous right now. And as you can see, the blooms are looking really pretty, and the florets are a little bit bigger, I'd say, compared to the bulbo. But anyway, I love the pink color on them. They are just absolutely stunning. And I hope you can see the difference between the two panicles. So this is the firelight tidbit, and that's the bulbo. Can you tell the difference? Right? This one looks like they're a little bit larger in size, and the bulbo looks like they're a little bit smaller inside, but they're both, I think, are gorgeous. And this is looking so pretty. I love bulbo. You have to know that this is probably one of my favorites because it's small. You can tuck it in any garden, and it blooms early too. That makes them extra special. And here is a fresh bloom on the Endless Summer Twist and Shout. It's gorgeous, and I love seeing them at this time of the year. They make the garden look much nicer. And I have some gorgeous blooms on my William Morris David Austin roses. They're just so pretty in the sunlight. And here's another one. And here's my limelight. In the last, I would say, week and a half, we've had 2 severe thunderstorm and rain, and since then, this is what the limelight looks like. It's pretty much flopped to the side. So I think some of you mentioned that I should go and prune the stems off, which I probably will, but I don't have a ladder. I need a ladder to climb all the way to the top. So I'm gonna wait until I have a ladder, then I will do that. And in this view, you can see my limelight, my bulbo panicles, as well as my firelight and the lava lamp. They are looking absolutely gorgeous right now. Look at them. I love walking around the garden at this time when the sun is setting, because the panicles, they look like they're glowing, right? So really pretty. And here you can see the bloomstruck, Endless Summer bloomstruck blooms are looking gorgeous as well. Look at the beautiful color. And I love that contrast between the bulbo, the limelight, the incredibles up here, surrounding the bloomstruck blooms. They're just so pretty. And here's another view of the lava lamp and the firelight panicles again. I just can't help but admire these. They are just the 2 most beautiful thing right now. And here to the west side, you can see that the limelight there is doing a little bit better than the limelight on the east side. It's probably because the panicles are a little bit smaller, so that's why they're able to stay upright a little bit better than the one on the east side. And here's some update of the container that I planted up, or I divided and planted up just over a week ago. And as you can see, since then I've cut off all of the blooms on the Black Eyed Susan. I've also cut back all the salvia because they were actually broken in the last 2 severe storms that we had. So I had to cut everything back up, and since then they have started to put on a lot of new growth. But the hostas seem to be doing okay. There's some damage here from the rain, but other than that, it's looking gorgeous. And there's a little bit of a mold on this penstemon, and I think in that video I said it was something else, but it's supposed to be the Dakota Burgundy, which is one of my favorites because of its dark leaf color that I really absolutely adore. And here's the other lamplight of the new standard that I created last year. As you can see, all the panicles were pretty much flopped to the ground. So I'm using string to hold them up. But again, I think I'm gonna have to cut the panicles off before the winter, or keep it that way as long as I can, because I do want the panicles to be attached so that they can protect the stems on the canopy. And right now, as the sun is setting, everything is just looking absolutely gorgeous. And look at these bees. They're still working hard away. Oh, this is one of the reasons why I love salvias, because they provide so much attraction for pollinators like bees. And here is an update of the 2 panicle hydrangeas that I sow from seed this year. Everything is doing fine, and I kind of had to keep them away from the other plants, because the squirrels at this time of the year, they like to go and dig these things up and hide nuts and stuff under here, and they end up killing. So last year I had a couple that were killed that way by the squirrels digging them up. So here's what happens. I've got some geraniums in here, and the squirrels were digging at it in here. So this entire plant here was uprooted earlier when I came back from work today. So I put it back into here and patted the soil down. So anyhow, I need to clean that up. So here's my Invincibelle wee white, and you remember how gorgeous it was at the beginning of July. So anyhow, I am going to divide this up, take a little piece, put it in a container so that I can put it next to the patio door. And we're looking at this is the bulbul panicles that I've got in container. Look how gorgeous the color is. So pretty. Now some of the earlier blooms on them are actually like dried and not so pretty, but the ones that were just recently opened, and then we had that fall like temperature that has given it a pretty pink color. So pretty. So after I have divided my Invincibelle wee white, I'm going to go to the front to show you how I am going to layer and root some of the stems that I've got on some of my panicle hydrangeas at the front. That way next spring I can remove them and make new plants. So let me just set my camera up and start working away. Looking at the root ball of the Invincibelle wee white, you know, when I divide, the thing that I look for is I try to clear away the as much of the dirt as possible so that I can see what the root ball looks like. And when I try to break it off, so that at least, you know, I get some of the stems with some roots in it, and that's how they're going to survive. Because if you don't have any roots, it's going to take a while for the roots to sort of get established. So I removed some of the dirt. I'm just going to continue remove more of the dirt, just so that I have a better sort of view of what the root ball looks like. And the best time to do this is actually now in fall, as the temperature is a little bit cooler. So right now we're at the low 20s, and then at night it's like high teens, and I'm talking about degrees Celsius. So I'll put the Fahrenheit temperatures on the screen for you. And anyway, remove as much of the dirt as possible. So as you can see, I have taken the plant apart, removed all of the dirt away from the root balls. So you want to do this at least about 4 weeks before the last frost date, and also when the temperature is nice and cool, so it gives the plant a better opportunity to get itself established before winter, right? And like I said, the best thing to do is when the weather is cooler. So you want to do this in fall, and that way the temperature is just perfect for these plants to start developing roots. So anyhow, let's get on with it. So like I said, I'm just gonna find a nice spot and then just kind of like cut through and break the plant in 2 pieces. Okay, I think there's a nice spot here. Actually, I'm going to turn it the other way so I can see better. It's hard to see here. And another best time to do this is also in spring as well, just after as the leaf buds are starting to sort of form on the plant. And you've seen me do that as well. So anyway, actually, let me see if I can find a piece where I can actually tear it apart. Let me see if I can break it. Sometimes I like to naturally tease the plant apart instead of cutting it, because if I end up cutting it, I might end up breaking the stems, right? But I feel like there's a nice piece here. Oh, I did break the stem, see? So I'm just gonna cut that off here. Let me just so this is where you don't want to tear, because you're going to break the roots, right? And you want to keep as much of the root as possible. So just naturally let it tear and split and pull the roots apart. So there you go. I've got 2 pieces. So here you can see the larger piece, which I think I'm going to replant that back in the ground, and then I've got a little piece here which I will plant in this pot. What I will also do is I will cut off all of the blooms, as well as water them in really well, so that will help them get established. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all the panicles on the plants just so that the plant can focus on getting itself rooted in and not have to worry about keeping the blooms alive. And at this point, make sure you give all the plants plenty of water so that their roots can continue to stay moist and get rooted in quickly before the cold winter sets in. Here's the one that's in the ground, so I think they will be okay because I did water everything in so that the soil is nice and moist, and I will continue to keep a very close eyes on them and making sure that the soil stays moist throughout the next few weeks. So let's go to the front garden where I'm going to show you how I'm going to root some of the stems that I have on the other panicle hydrangea. So right now I'm at the front garden. So I have a recently planted panicle hydrangea here that has one shoot. I don't know if you can see. It's got one shoot where it connects to the root ball, and then that one shoot extends to about 5 sort of branches, and these branches are still quite new and they're quite flexible. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to root one of the stems. That way I can have them rooted by the spring and sever it and make it into a new plant next spring. So I just want to point it out that this method works best on a young plant when you don't have a lot of stems to divide, so you can just easily root the stem that is still attached to the mother plant. Now you could detach the stem and root it, but I think this method is so much easier because there's not much to do other than just water the plant as usual and just allow the plant some time to get rooted in so that by next spring you'll have a plant that's well rooted in and you can remove it from the mother plant and plant it individually. And also, you don't have to worry about winterizing the cuttings, right? If you leave it attached to the mother plant. Okay, so I hope you can see this. So again, I'm choosing the stem that is most flexible and it can easily touch the ground. You can see that, right? So all I have to do is remove a few sets of leaves around the area where I want it to sort of root into the soil. So as you can see, I have already removed at least 3-4 sets of leaves from the stem here. So what you want to do is you want to be able to have at least 3 sets of nodes where you can actually layer it into the ground for the roots to develop. You don't want just the one because that won't be enough. You want at least 3 nodes. That way you have, like I said, enough roots developed, and that will become a really healthy plant ready for next spring for you to remove it from the main mother stem. Now, the other way you could do it is you could cut the stem rooted, but I like this method the best because while it is still connected to the mother plant, it can still send out nutrients, feed the plant, and at the same time, it's going to form roots where it connects to the part of the soil. So all I have to do, like I said, remove the leaves and then just kind of remove away the soil and then just layer that about 3 inches or 4 inches into the soil, and that's and then cover it with rock. Okay, but there's another way that I like to do, which you don't need to, but it helps. It makes it quicker and faster to develop roots. So this is what I use. I use a rooting hormone a rooting stimulator hormone, and all you can get this at any garden centers. This was one that I bought from the Home Depot, and it comes into a liquid like this. So all you have to do is take a Q-tip. Now what you might have to do is you might have to scrape the side, especially where the leaf nodes. You see how it is exposed right now? So you want that sort of a little bit of that flesh exposed. That way it can come in sort of closer contact with the rooting hormone when I apply it. Some people also like to remove some of the excess bark on the stem as well, but I don't think it's necessary. As long as you have some mean for the rooting hormones to get into the plant, which is where I like it, around the part where I just removed the leaves. And so all you have to do is take the rooting hormone and apply it all over the exposed part. And all you have to do now is, like I said, push it into the soil. And make sure it stays within, like I said, at least 3-4 inches deep. And just kind of pat it. Sort of pat it down. And then you're going to take a rock and you're going to place the rock over that part of the stem just to kind of hold it down. Okay? And then you take a little bit of extra mulch. You just kind of mulch the area around it. I'm going to put more mulch here. And the part of the stem that kind of extend and grow out, what you want to do is you make sure that it has to be sort of standing upright, okay? And if it's not upright, you can just put a rock and just kind of gently hold it up on the other side. And that's it. You just water the plant as usual, because like I said, you don't need to worry about this. And this is why I like this method so much. You don't need to do anything to it other than to make sure the rock stays on top and that the stem is layered within 3 to 4 inches deep into the ground. Cover it with a little bit of mulch and make sure you don't step on this or damage it, right? Because then you may have to start all over again next year. So that concludes today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are in the world. Take care, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye for now.